Results, and let's go to Jennifer Murillo to see what's going on in Election Central.
Okay, so what you see is Precinct 4 results are in. What you see right here is the screen behind me that has the results. We have Pullins Miles, who's winning with 57%. We have for council members, we have Kearney, who's ahead, and Rudolph, and McDonald's trailing behind the two. And for city clerk, we have Suarez, who's ahead, and Heineman is trailing that's for Precinct 4 again. So in a few minutes, hopefully we'll get precincts for Precinct 9, the results for Precinct 9, and we'll get you more information of who's winning what seats. Back to you.
Online, and
I don't know what camera.
And we're looking at them right now as well. As Precinct 4 is checked in, Anita, and Robert Pullin Miles with Robert Pullin Miles, 156 votes from the 4th precinct, 114 for Daniel Reed. So it's a 340 to 247 lead for Robert Pullin Miles over Daniel Reed. Meanwhile, in the council member race, it looks like our two incumbents are going to retain their seats after 2 precincts are in, but it ain't over until the plus-size lady sings, we'll call that. And with the most votes so far, Larry Rudolph with 167 in the 4th precinct, but yeah, he's trailing Pat Kearney, 170 to 167 in the 4th precinct. Gary McDonald with 52 votes. But in the overall picture, Larry Rudolph has 389 votes to Pat Kearney's 376, and Gary McDonald now has 117 votes overall. And for city clerk office, Bernadette Suarez is now taking the lead because of her 4th precinct swing. She had 162 to 87 over Marge Henneman, and now has a 309 to 243 vote lead in the city clerk's race. So this is a very close race. This is going to be exciting. And what's that I hear?
Wow, I hear that machine rolling again, going on again, and that's getting even more and more exciting.
So we have 2 more precincts to go.
Absolutely, and I bet you the next one is going to be number 9.
Number 9, okay.
Yes.
And you can follow along with us at home on City TV and just log on to, what do you log on to?
www.lawndallecity.org and go to the homepage. Or you can continue watching the live election on Channel 3. It's up-to-the-minute election results right here from the City Hall, right outside of the City Council chamber, along with Lou Stowers, myself, Anahita Khalatbari, and the lovely cable television supervisor, Mr. Tom Strickfaden, and his staff. And it's very, very exciting. It's escalating, and we can't wait to see what the results are going to be.
And as soon as Jennifer Murillo has any more results, we will go right to her inside of the beehive known as Election Central, whereas the City Council chambers has been transformed into the ballot counting beehive.
That's right.
And
so we currently have, we have 2 precincts already in, number 3 and 4 that have already actually been counted. We have all of them in, but the ones that are counted, as Lou just gave you the results, were number 3 and number 4. And
number 1 and number 9 are yet to be counted, but we did hear the ballot counter rolling, and once again, it's Robert Pullin Miles with just over 90 vote lead, a 93 vote lead over Daniel Reed, 340 to 247. And it does appear that Larry Rudolph and Pat Kearney will retain their city council seats. And Bernadette Suarez, who's very popular in the 4th precinct, has a 309 to 243 lead for the city clerk. Now, you have the list of where the precincts are, Anita. Where exactly is that 4th precinct, so we can kind of focus in?
Absolutely. Yes, precinct number 4, Lou, was the Lawndale Fire Station number 21, located at 4312 West 147th Street.
And precinct number 3?
Precinct number 3 was the Diane Bollinger Memorial Gym, which was at Roger Rogers Middle School, located at 4110 West 154th Street.
And again, the big election tonight is the mayoral seat election, left behind by Harold Hoffman, who after 12 terms, in his 12th term, passed away on November 16th. So almost a quarter of a century has gone by without really a contested seat for Mayor Hoffman. I know he was the only one running the last time we were here.
That's right. He actually ran unopposed in the very last election, which was held in 2010 when you and I covered it.
That's right. And we've been talking to other people about their memories of Harold Hoffman. How about you? Do you have any?
Yes, I do. I actually had the opportunity to go and do some reports here for the city of Lawndale and different places. You and I did the reports on the Youth Day Parade. I also went to the Health and Safety Fiesta. I went to the 4th of July celebrations that we had, the events that we had, and he was always present, always pleasant and present. And he always had something to say. He always looked forward to every event. And it was a pleasure speaking to him. What about yourself, Lou? What are your memories?
Well, before we do that, the Precinct 9 numbers are rolling in right now. So let's see if Jennifer Murillo is ready with those numbers.
I hear that machine.
What you hear is the final precinct that's being counted, but Precinct 9, the results for Precinct 9 are in. What you see is Pullen Miles, who's still ahead with 542 counts of votes against 392. Kearney and Rudolph are ahead with 601 votes, and Rudolph with 613, and McDonald at 210, and Bernadette Suarez is still winning with 456 votes, and Heineman with 431. As soon as we find out the final results of the final precinct, Precinct 1, we'll get back to you with the final results of who's winning what chairs.
In as well on the website, www.lawndale.city.org. Go to the home page, and right below the banner you can click on the election results page, and that's exactly what I'm looking at right now. And let's go to them myself. As Jennifer told you, let's just go over them again. Robert Pullen Miles is pulling away from Daniel Reed with 542 votes to 392, with precinct number 9 coming in. 202 votes for Pullen Miles to 145 for Daniel Reed. So we have one more precinct to go.
Yes.
And Pullen Miles has just started to pull away with the most votes yet in a precinct.
That's right. He's in the lead.
And for council, it does appear that Larry Rudolph and Pat Kearney will retain their city council seats for another 4-year term, with Larry Rudolph now having 613 votes to Pat Kearney's 601, and Gary McDonald with 210, as Larry Rudolph with 224 votes in precinct number 9 and 225 for Pat Kearney, 93 for McDonald. In the battle for the city clerk's office, the vacated city clerk's office, Marge Heineman is now getting a little bit closer. She now trails by 25 votes, 456 to 431, as Heineman with 188 votes in precinct number 9 to 147 for Bernadette Suarez. So that's our closest race of the night.
A tight race.
Absolutely.
Very interesting. So we only have one more precinct to go, precinct number 1, which was the very last one that came in. And so it's going along very smoothly, very quickly tonight, and it's very exciting.
It certainly is, and we're talking about the vacated mayoral seats by the passing of Mayor Harold Hoffman at 81 years old in the middle of November. And the one aspect I remember about Mayor Hoffman is we used to interview him every year. Come whatever the weather was, cold, wet, dry, hot, those mayor cup bowls at either Hawthorne or Lusinger High School. He even showed up at Lawndale High School. He just loved high school football, and his energy level exceeded everything. But in his later years, he had a little bit of a hearing problem. And so with the bands going and all the activity going, sometimes you'd ask him a question and he'd come up with an answer that was completely different, but it was still Harold Hoffman. But one thing that I do remember And luckily I was able to thank him, is that my wife, who passed away over a year ago, he adjourned one of the city council meetings in the memory of my wife, and I'll always remember that. So do remember that. But again, this mayoral race is going to be pretty much a history-making race, because this is the first time this century that a new mayor is going to sit at the head of the city council.
Absolutely. I know this was a very touching moment for you too, to be talking about your wife who passed away. So we will continue our talk tonight. It's emotional in this section of the election, as we were just talking, but we will continue as we are now going to be interviewing one of our candidates who's running for the mayor.
But before we do that, let's go back into Election Central and talk to Jennifer Murillo, and she will update us on anything going on in there. And I don't see any Precinct 1 numbers on my board, but maybe she has something else different. Jennifer.
Well, Lou and Anita, nothing really has come in for Precinct 1. They have finished counting, the volunteers have finished counting the ballots. Right now they will be going through the machine to find out exactly what's happening. And soon enough, as soon as we find out all the information, we'll be giving you the final results of the election. Right now they're making sure, filling out the last paperwork that they need to complete. Precincts, as you can tell, precincts 3,